Testing. All right. Chapter 6, Opening Package of the Issuing Warnings. Overview. During the course of complete compliance inspection, investigators may have the reasonable accountable to leave the packet with the transport conveyance contained with the hazard material of the package and otherwise comply with the hazard material regulation. Investigator may stop the movement of the package, may open the package with the verify with the internal content of the determine the material that needs to be sent to the lab with the further testing. Investigators may determine the warning order that's necessary to prevent the restricting the certain packages from being permitted for the transport. The chapter provides the overview of how the investigators should otherwise various steps of the package to describe the type of the warnings or orders available, the risk of movement of the package if needed. Under Title 49, Part 109, investigators have the authority to access, open, and examine the package for the removal of the package for the transportation, imminent habit that order the transportation of the package analysis, permit shipment to resume, shipment to resume the transportation, authorized, qualified to assist with the performance regulated function, issue an emergency order, stop when the investigator have the reasonable actual belief of the package for the transportation, conveyance, if contained with the hazard material of the package that does not otherwise comply with the hazard material regulation, agent stop and move the package for the transport conveyance. When the conduct of the hazmat inspection, the investigator moved from the necessary for the unavoidable delay associated with the routine inspection stop of the inner part 109, he or she moved beyond with the collection of information readily available at the inspection site for the original offerer. A stop of the part 109, the referred to limitation prevention continued movement the package for the transport conveyance does not refer to the physical stopping with the transportation conveyance. Stop of the part 109 may result in more necessary unavoidable delays associated with the routine compliance with the inspection, but the investigator should be aware of the fact that the work of the regional leadership stop of the package for the stop include the preventing of the package for the entering and into the transportation thereafter the inspection where however the general authority to gather information may not indicate that the stop of however the package is staged but not yet offered but the inspection may become a stop of the conducting has material inspection and the stop should be limited to the time that the duration investigation should access the compliance. Opening package that has material inspected for the compliance with the federal hazard material for the transportation law for the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5101 5 through 5127 and for the Code 5 of the Title 49 Code for Regulations Part 109 with the authority of the designated with the Secretary of Transportation open the examine the package officer for the or in the transportation officer with the employee with the agent with the object for the reasonable articulated belief that the package may contain with the hazard material situation that would require the issuance of the emergency recall out of strip of the order for the unsafe condition and the unpractical for the posing with the imminent have the investigator shall notify the regional leadership before opening any of the packages. Or an investigator may open the packet but not immediately adjacent to the content with he or she with the be objectively reasonably articulated belief of the package may contain with the has material with the material and otherwise not in compliance with by opening the package they should try with the other method of obtaining information if he or she needs to determine the compliance with the possible investigation should ask any with the custody of the control of the opening of the packet with the opening of the packet the investigator may examine the inner packaging of the packaging components for the determine the compliance with the federal hazard material regulation law. Investigators should not open the otherwise handled package that appear to be leaking the name believe that the containment of the perishable has the material radioactive material has material with the primary subsidiary classification poison inhalation has sale like agent investigators shall not open primary package closure with the include with the closure and intermediate bulk containment with the bulk packaging that does not include with the testing of the secondary contain closure of the tightness even though with the bulk packaging after the opening of the package for the agent may be required with the close of the package guideline for the closed of the package addressed later in this chapter. And then shows you the procedure for the opening of the package believe with the containment that has material chart and then another one procedure opening packages believe that the container has material non-consent. Opening package procedure the investigator must ensure the appropriate personal protective equipment is worn prior to opening the package. The condition of the package should be documented with a photograph of the observation form with the before it's open. The investigator must include with the marker label the outer inner package with all packaging components. Before opening the package, the investigator should conduct the external visual assessment and indication of the potential hazards such as the leak of the surveyor package with the anything leaks discover that the must discontinue to open the package with the notify the owner agent for the terminal operator with the mitigate with the leak of the believe the life-threatening and evacuate call 911. Investigators shall open the outer packet to at least destructive method of the possible reusable closure device if it must be with the appropriate tool with the appropriate screwdriver. The wrench for the investigator should open the outer packet with using non-reusable closure material such as the tape, the stitching, staple, the cutting of the closure of the material with the minimum depth necessary to break the seal. Even if the investigator believes the support suspect package contains fireworks class 3 or 4 material with the outer packaging should be open to non-spark compliance. Investigators believe that the suspect package with the division 4-3 material but it should not be open with the person's aware, but the investigator will carefully open it with the top of the outer packaging and inspect with the inner packaging. The investigator shall only inspect the first layer of the inner packaging Any device pad of the cushioning and absorptive material must be documented. The investigator must remove the cushioning and absorptive material necessary for the detective to document with the inner packaging components placed in the outer packaging. The investigator should photograph and inner photo packaging with a completing with the observation report. Any documentation found with the outer package should be copied and photographed. Reclosing the package. If the package opening investigator may require the decision for the preparing of the package safe with the prompt for the transportation may include the reclosing of the package with the accordance with the packaging manufacturer closure instruction. Note that the investigator opened the package with the non-compliant with the investigator not required the reclose of the package and bringing the package into compliance with the following are procedure of reclosing the package. Alright, the investigator may ensure all of the inner package of the cushioning materials over the pad for the divider for the return of the original pack for the configuration prior to the reclose of the packaging. All box flap for the may be closed with the outer box flap for the budding with the investigator when applying with the 3-inch industrial strapping tape with the 6x6 mils with the 380-pound test completely around the circle of the box center on the budding and out of the box flex with a minimum 6-inch overlap. The investigator must apply with the PHMSA, inspect the evidence over the tape. Investigators require the initial plate with his or her name number on the inspection tape with the permanent ink and permanent ink. The investigator must have the facility represented with the initial inspection tape with adjacent with the investigation mark with the package with the photograph of the clothes of the return shipping staff by the investigator. Investigator should notify the compliant with the official with the finding of the evidence for the containment during the investigation. Opening container for the other enclosed with the transport vehicle with the opening of the van with the freight container box travel with the other enclosed with the transportation vehicle with the contain has material. The material investigator should first secure the door for the safety with the strap of the prior with the opening with the ensure with the load with the not shifting again for the door with the prevent the spillage for the loading shifting and that if the occurred after the doors have the opening with the secured. Investigator shall wait for the several minutes for the exchange with the take of the police for the vehicle with the caution someone has material that made with the vapor for the permit through the package of the cover the individual overcome the fume with the entering of the freight contained with the vertical vehicle immediate after the opening of the box track opening with the rollout that should adequately secure with the either with the operative with the investigator van freight trainer freight container box trailer with the other include with the transport vehicle with the inspection required with the container should always be conducted with a 2-person team. 1 person always positioned on the doorway. The investigation should never enter the unit alone to determine the leak profile and proofness of seals. When exiting a van freight container with the box trailer with the other enclosed transporter vehicle leaving the freight docker with the investigator should always use the climb down without using the share of the ladder rungs and the ladders jumping down, but the unit in the dock is not permitted. Our transport for analysis. Investigators determine the further examination package of the analysis of the materials required. They agree. The agent made the directive of the person with the transport of the package with the test facility capable of performing the required test at the location where the examination may be safely conducted for the investigator with the proceedings and for using authority to may include with the following situation conducting information exists. Additional investigation not possible with the immediate premise of the otherwise determine the package in compliance. Investigators should contemporaneously document his or her region with the authority minimum of the investigator should document the description of the package with them include with the available the shipping information type of the testing the with the examination analysis of the package testing the person being directed with the transport packaging identified test facility in context information with the regional leadership to be contacted with the contact approval before existing with its authority assistance of the qualified personnel with the investigator is unable to perform the function with the safety of the night but otherwise with the compromise of the investigator performed for the essential function of the investigator may be the authorized properly qualified personal activities although the investigator may record for the assistance of the person his or her employee with his or right to refuse the request. No, such of the refusal may be the ground for the removal to discuss earlier in the chapter. The investigator may request for the assistance of the qualified personnel based on solely upon his or her discretion prior with the request for the authorization person to be performing any of the function investigator first review verify person is pre-qualified to perform the function that the investigator authorized for the performing. This is for the performing of the function the investigator should document how he or she verified that the person was properly qualified the function agency request for the authorized for the person to perform what the person actually did. Additional information investigator believe it relevant to his or her request for the assistance qualified personnel. Emergency orders may be in the form of the emergency restriction prohibition recall out of the service. The order that may be issued unsafe the practice of the condition posing an imminent hazard. 3 types of emergency orders are authorized. Out of service the emergency order applicable to the package of the president with an imminent habit of the file with the transportation. The out of service order is issued with the party with the custody with the control of the package. Emergency recall with the emergency recalls are issued with the PHMSA with the installation of the module operating and administration as appropriate. The emergency out of order address packaging designs may be delivered with a particular manufacturer brand with a certain package of the designs typically with emergency recall orders. It imposes the requirements of the party with the possession of the subject of the package. However, the emergency orders may impose the specific requirement of the manufacturer packaging design of the subject over the order. Emergency recall orders will be published with the Federal Register. Alright, emergency restriction prohibition. Emergency restriction prohibition limited to the extent of the necessary for the debate with the imminent have of the emergency order. Very versatility. Versatile can be broadly and narrowly tailored with the out of service or an emergency recall order. The emergency order is generally directed toward the package, although certain circumstances there may be either the draft of the package issued with the emergency order can be either restricted all of the portion of the either the activity additional with the operating administration can issue the emergency with the order to issue restrict or prohibit the transportation has material based on the determination unsafe for the practice for the condition of the posed imminent hazards. Imminent head of the potential violation. Occasionally, an investigator may encounter the situation involving the imminent head of the possible, but the trauma of the intent of the violate, but the continuing violate has material regulation. Investigators shall notify the regional chief of the investigator, regional director, whenever the imminent has likely the agent of the drug for them reasonable, attributable belief of the package may impose the imminent head of the he or she remove the package within relief of the package shipment of the transportation. Most situations, remove the limited 48 hours for example below the identified imminent hazard. Investigators should always take any action to promote safety, but be careful to do so in the appropriate manner for the investigation. Ensure that all parties are aware of the responsibility under the regulation shall not take in the change of the attempt to carry of the responsible investigation and advise the regulatory parties. Able the regulatory requirements of prohibition should not order the direct and instruct with the mandate with a particular action or other directing and instructing the mandating with the party should otherwise not take any action beyond the scope of the investigating authority conducted with the result of the legal liability. If the situation is such that the immediate emergency response resource for the first responders are needed to mitigate the situation, the investigators should call 911. In a situation where the regulated detainee needs assistance, additional substantiation for the complying with the regulation, investigators may say that the assistance for the regulated detainee that has not been abided with the law or regulation required to prohibit the regulated detainee with the subsequent violation. Those regulations could be considered willful for the subject of the possible criminal prosecution. Investigators should write down his or her verbal statement before sharing it with the accompanying official because of the importance of the documentation with the conveyed with the accompanying official. With the additional investigator should make the statement with the witness if there's another investigator, law enforcement official, neutral party. Imminent hazard warning example. If assuming the hazard material that does go by the company of the shipping dock with the statement for the ready with the transportation for the non-UNCN passengers does not comply with the regulation of the investigation should abide by the company official. Typically, we're going by the hazard material involved with the failure to comply with the regulation could result with a substantial civil penalty with the shipper and care with the company with the individual employee, but may be subject to criminal prosecution if the proceed to violate the regulation necessary for the further statements and if the company official would have just been notified of the regional requirement that the violation was not considered willful. Investigators should not prohibit the program of the shipment of the hazard material until the prior readily packed with the distinction between the advising and of ordering is critical, but the one should even say that he or she is ordering or prohibiting specific action. In this example, the investigator may say that the regulations, specifically for Title 49, require that the hazard material the ship of the transportation UN standard packaging, specifically in blank, if they are shipped off of the transportation packaging does not meet the requirements of the company with the others involved with the may subject with a civil penalty of $78,776 per violation and $182,877 for one injured or killed by the author of the carrier is likely subject to the civil penalty for the additional with the proceed with the shipping have the material packaging. You and the company may be subject to the criminal penalty involved with the 5 years imprisonment with fines up to $250,000 individual up to $500,000 for a company. I'm not telling you what to do or ordering you. I'm simply telling you the regulation required with what the penalties prescribed with the law with the violating. Do you understand? Issuing the emergency order. Regional chief of the investigator determine the investigator of the brief of the emergency order out of service of the order is warranted, but the regional chief of the investigator determines if such an order warranted that should be immediately notified the regional director with the direct field support with the DAAFO. Assistant Chief of the Council has been law with the responsibility of the role of the direct field service support with the DAAFO will notify the discuss the situation. Assistant Chief Counsel of Law along with the Engineering Research Division, Standards and Rulemaking Division, Approval of the Permit Division, and Outreach of the Engagement Grant Division, Program Development Division, and evidence of the examine to verify the compliance with the specific imminent hazards. Alright, the Assistant Chief of the Council, the Office of Engineering with the Research Division with the Field Operation Representative can concur with the imminent hazard that exists. Attorney will prepare the emergency order with the respective of the regional office for the issue with the company official with the other person having the actual control of the transportation vehicles. Investigators will have the company official sign with the emergency order with acknowledging shipment on the whole of the mitigation efforts for the complete of the investigator will affix for the out of service tag with the effective of the package with the container deemed opposed with the imminent hazard. The investigator will explain with the company official with the process that residing with the emergency order with the hazard may be corrected by submitting such a request for the regional respective of the regional director with approval, respective of the regional director of the design will review the responsibility part of mitigation after the issue of the in-service order approving the package with the container to put back in the service. And 6, if the imminent hazard resolve the hazardous relief, the hazard response prediction of the other enforcement agency will cover the investigation assistance through notification will cover the National Response Center, any other emergency with the investigator with the detention over the effective notification. Executive notification must be complete with the forward as required in Chapter 7 of this manual. And then shows the chart. Alright, your decision tree with the tree and emergency detention. The last of the full resumption of the activity and or operation approved with respect to the regional design director designee will issue the revised emergency or the revised order will specify the activity, the operation remaining restricted and prohibited until the additional mitigation efforts if they have been completely resolved with the situation. Additional regional director, the designee will issue the received order of the detail of the activities and or operational relief that may be resumed at the discreet of over the company. If the full resumption of activity, the operation permitted with the respect of the region with the director's design designee or will be reserved over the detail of the activity of the operation detail of the previous emergency order have the release and then maybe the resume of the discretion company with official public notification for the purpose of public notification to deliver the public and the condition of warrant with the material of the packaging being recalled due to the possibility of the serious that material people property with the environment know this is reserved for the urgent situation where the other means of preventing the issue of the recall of the material of the packaging is inadequate. Recall effectiveness check for the purpose of those checks verify the law involve the call with the specify the strategy with the receiver the notification of the recall has shaken shall have taken the appropriate action for the method of contact with the specified the party that may be accomplished the personal business, telephone call, and letters with the combination thereof. Chapter 7: Packaging and material testing.